Hello, hey, Gerald Yappington here with another mainline episode for you guys. Welcome back, welcome back. I'm not going to do a long-awaited intro for this one because I've already telegraphed to you what it's going to be. And of course, if you read the title, you would already know. We're playing and talking, well, we done played. I actually finished, I 100%ed Saints Row the Reboot, which came out August 23rd, 2022. And not to completely spoil my take on this game or anything, but I definitely feel like it was very overhated. It was definitely overrated, although some of it was very deserving, I won't lie. Like, I'll talk about this a little more later, but I just don't like any of the new characters, man. I really just, there was no point in calling it Saints Row if you're not going to have any of the original characters. And that was, I feel like, the worst part of the entire game. And I feel like that's kind of like the yin and yang of the game, right? Like the trade-off, like you call it Saints Row to kind of get the publicity, kind of get people excited for a reboot of a beloved series. However, that's the double-edged sword as well. You call it Saints Row, it has absolutely nothing to do with the original games at all, and the game rightfully gets shit on because of it. I truly genuinely believe if they called this game literally anything else, like insert your gang name here, it would have done so much better. But at the same time, if they were trying to use the old title to gain a bunch of eyes on it, then it wouldn't have worked out as well anyway. But I truly feel like public perception of this game would have been a lot better. It definitely would have been way better received if you just got rid of all of the Saints stuff in the game in its entirety and just called it something else. Like, it literally just has nothing to do with Saints Row, outside of like one small reference to Johnny Gat as this Tommy gun. Unfortunately, as we all know, the current state of games, well, modern gaming is all just about business. It's all about making money. So obviously, it's just very clear what they were trying to do. Volition, the company that is now shut down, apparently, right? I'm pretty sure this company got shut down because of this game, or they shut down shortly after that was released because of how bad this game was received. This new game just unfortunately feels like one giant nostalgia bait to get you to buy the game. Honestly though, once you look past all of that bullshit, there's actually a pretty fun game underneath all that. So yeah, let's go ahead and just break down all of the stuff that this game features. And we'll obviously be comparing it to the original Saints Row to see where improvements have been made and to see where it fell short. Let's get into what you do most in the game, which is just shooting the fuck out of people. How does shooting people feel in Saints Row and combat in general? I think it feels pretty damn good, man. Pretty damn good. It's actually one of the more fun parts of the game. Obviously, it should be, right? Because that's what you spend a majority of the game doing. But yeah, there's just so much weapon variety. It's actually insane. I didn't try every single weapon in the game out. However, I did use a handful of them, and I quickly developed some favorites. I feel like I should mention that I played on mouse and keyboard, so if you played on a controller, your experience might be different. However, there was some auto-aim. You would just press right-click to aim in on an enemy, and then you have to swipe upwards a little bit to go for the headshot. You didn't have to go for headshots, but obviously headshot damage means critical damage, means they die faster, so you want to. One of the things I really liked about the game is that every single weapon in the game that you use has a chance to unlock like a special perk. And the weapon perk can really just be anything. One of my most used guns was the MP7 SMG, and the perk for it was insane. Every single time you reload, it basically cycles between fire rounds, stun rounds, and bleeding rounds, which was so cool. Along with perks, you can honestly customize so much of the weapon too. Like, you can go over and give it a whole new paint job. There's a bunch of camos and stuff you can throw on the guns, and there's like a whole color wheel you can do to customize the colors all you want. There's just a surprising amount of depth to the customization in this game, which I appreciate. I'm just gonna breeze through the weapons I actually liked here. I could spend all day talking about all the amount of weapons in this game, so here we go. I didn't really use any of the pistols, although there was a foam finger pistol, or you could turn the pistol into a foam finger, which was kind of funny. I do remember from the earlier Saints Row, there was kind of crazy ass, like silly weapons you could fool around with, but in this game, it's a little more serious when it comes to the weapons and stuff. However, there's like a punch thing. Like, there's this gun where it's literally just two extending fists, and you just keep punching whoever you're aiming at. It's so retarded, but I love it. It's really funny. But yeah, didn't really use too much of the pistols. I love the SMGs. SMGs are probably my favorite class in the game. There wasn't that many. There was like a Vector. I used the Tommy gun a bit. And this is where the Johnny Gat reference comes in. It says 1921 Johnson SMG is what the Tommy gun is called. The description is a versatile weapon battling G-men since the 20s, the original Johnny Gat, which, I mean, that's really the only reference to him. And it's not even a reference to Johnny Gat himself. It's a reference to the guys way back when they used it. So, you know, it's whatever. That just pissed me off, man. I know I'm going to keep going back to it, but man, these characters suck. Anyways, there's like a micro SMG, like a mini Uzi type thing. And then there's the one I used the most, which I already talked about, which was the MP7. Love this gun. The signature ability for it is just so incredible. And you can actually go through and read all of the signature abilities for the guns. That's kind of what I did beforehand to kind of see what I wanted to pick up and maybe try out a little bit. And the Thompson one wasn't all that great, which is kind of why I got rid of it early. It's just armor piercing rounds, you know, not that interesting. Would it have been useful for on like the bosses and the bigger enemies that have the armor health bar? Sure, you know. But I saw that MP7 one was just intrigued me, so I just had to have it. Oh, and by the way, of course, you have to swap between them because you can't have multiple of the same class of gun in your arsenal. You can only have one of each. Say one assault rifle, one SMG, one pistol, one shotgun. You get the deal. As far as rifles go, I tried the AR-55 burst rifle. It's just like a typical 3-round burst assault rifle. I honestly ended up using the first AK you get the most just because it's so good once you like fully upgrade it. The signature ability on this thing wasn't that great. It's just the more kills you get with it, it decreases the cooldown and your takedown, which your takedown, I'm pretty sure this is what it is. I'm not entirely sure what the name of it is, but takedown is when that little percentage bar in the center of your screen fills up and then you're able to go up and press the melee button on an enemy, on a 1-bar enemy to take them down and fill some of your health back up. So, this just meant that you kept getting that opportunity. Nothing out of the ordinary, but the gun itself hits super hard, especially with headshots, and it has a huge clip once you fully upgrade it. So this was like my go-to gun along with the MP7 SMG. I flipped a lot between the AK and what they call the MDI 85 carbine. It's like a Marshall kind of single shot DMR. It's really, really good. It's really strong. It headshot taps like every single enemy in the game besides armored ones. And its signature ability is crazy. It's like as you get more flow, your shots just do more DPS, do more damage. Very, very good. Oh, I guess I should explain what flow is. I haven't explained that yet. It's kind of like a really big part of the whole combat flow of the game, I guess. Very funny. Right above your health bar, there's these little diamonds, and you get more of them as you level up, but they'll be white if they're not full yet, and they'll be yellow if they're ready to go. As you fill these up, and you fill them up by basically just shooting and killing people, you get to spend these flow diamonds on your abilities in general, which I haven't even talked about yet. I'll talk about that later. So with this gun specifically, there was like a very fun mini game where it's like, do I spend my flow points on abilities to help me clear enemies, or do I just keep my flow fully stacked and just do more like bullet damage? So I just thought it was a very cool gameplay mechanic. And then for shotguns, I never really used any of them. There was a handful of them. I did use the sawed-off shotgun a little bit just because that's my favorite type of shotgun. It's badass. It's Terminator. Everybody loves a sawed-off shotgun, right? The signature ability on this thing was okay too. It would just have like dragonfire rounds. You would get the incendiary rounds it wasn't every time you shot, but it was a handful of times you shot. It was a chance to light your enemies on fire, which was decent, but again, 2 bullets in the chamber, it just doesn't do enough. You have to reload it constantly. Not my favorite. So I just stuck with the AR SMG pretty much most of the game, and then the occasional RPG whenever I needed shit to explode. On the topic of combat, let me just talk about some of the perks and skills you can get in this game. Similar to perks, I'm not going to go over every single one in the game. However, you keep getting skills from leveling up. Same with perks and completing the various challenges in the game. You also can get perks and skills from. The first one I used was called Frag Out. It's what it sounds like. You throw a frag grenade. Very, very useful for taking out big groups of enemies and vehicles. Very useful, just comes in handy. Just toss a grenade in at any point in the fight for some extra burst damage. The second one I used was called Transfusion. While active, you heal yourself by dealing damage to enemies. It's basically just a life steal. Very, very useful on the higher difficulty, because I wasn't on the hardest difficulty, but I was on like the one right below hard. So it was still kind of hard in the beginning when you didn't really have upgrades or anything like that. So this skill really paid off in those situations where you just need to life steal off enemies to keep yourself up. The third skill I had was called Intercession, where you just call in some saints for backup. It's really, really useful when there's like a swarm of enemies, right? And you just need to get some aggro off of you, so you can call in your saints, have them draw the aggro while you pick your enemies off from a different like off angle. And then the last one is called Death Blossom. And if you're an Overwatch player, I'm sure you know exactly what it is. Spin around you and fire bullets in every direction, and that's literally what you do. Your character just jumps around and fires bullets in a giant circle, just like my boy Reaper. Roll the clip.
My turn.
Also, yes, I will acknowledge the fact that I am Wario in this clip. The character customization in this game goes absolutely crazy. I'll mention it in a little bit. So skills are more like battlefield abilities, and then perks are more like passive abilities that you just get that kind of change up the gameplay a bit. Again, I'm not going to list all of the ones in the game, but I will just mention a few that I really, really enjoy. Trampoline was one of my favorite perks just because it makes traversing around the city so much easier. Basically, when you're wingsuiting, you can bounce off of people to keep getting altitude or to get more altitude so you can continue flying. And what this perk does is just let you get more altitude from a wingsuit bounce. Very, very helpful. Deadeye was a crazy one. After you get a headshot kill, your reload speed increases. Faster reload speed means more DPS, so that I'm all in on that type of shit right there. There was a dual wield perk, so when you're wielding pistols or SMGs, you could have two of them, which is obviously, again, another no-brainer. Dual DPS, more ammo. Had to cop that perk. Another one called Scavenger was really useful. Just basically anytime you pick up ammo from dead enemies, it would give you more. There's a perk called Saving Throw, which I'm pretty sure is a Doom Eternal reference because it kind of does the same thing. In Doom Eternal, Saving Throw is you basically get to live on 1 HP and things go slow-mo, so it's kind of like a get-out-of-jail-free card that you can use once. Similar thing in this game. You gain more health bars when your health is depleted, so pretty useful if you die often. Surgical Strike was the elite perk I used the most. Temporarily do more damage for each precision kill and made in quick succession. So obviously the more headshot kills you do, the more damage gets done to everybody. So obviously you could just really snowball this into a lot of kills, especially paired with the faster reload per headshot kill. Actually went nuts. As far as character customization goes, I was actually thoroughly impressed with what you could just do in this game. They have the entire face sculpting thing like they do in like Skyrim or one of those kind of games where you can fix everything from like your forehead to your jaw, your ears, your nose, your lips, everything in between, and you can just perfect it how you want. You don't just go to 1 or 2 clothes stores. There's a bunch of clothes stores literally all across of Santa Eliso. That's what the town is called, right? Or the city, Santa Eliso? Pretty sure it is. Literally every single clothing store you visit in this game has a completely different vibe. Like there's Western vibes, there's like inner city vibes, with honestly an incredible amount of customization to each piece you can do as well. And you can sit there and tweak the colors on most parts of the clothing. You know what the best part of it all is though? There's honestly one feature that I wish they would add in more games. This feature is honestly one of the greatest I've ever used, and it's called the sharing app. You go into your phone, you pull up the sharing app, and you can literally just find a bunch of costumes that people made from the most upvoted ones to the least upvoted ones. There's a whole bunch of categories you can choose from to narrow down your search. You can just go through all of the other players' creations and just see what they have and then download it for yourself, which is so cool, man. That's why I was playing as Wario most of the game. You can literally play, I was playing as Waluigi, I was playing as Wario. You can literally get SpongeBob, Handsome Squidward. There was like Billie Eilish, Hulk Hogan, Luffy from One Piece, Kanye West, Donald Trump. Like literally any character you could probably think of, I'm sure somebody has made it in Saints Row. So that part of the game was fucking amazing, and I wish more games would take notes from that. Let me show you guys my character before I discovered the sharing app. So before I started playing this game, I heard it was like a woke mess, a big woke nightmare with a bunch of DEI shit involved. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to make my character the most disgusting, like trans male or trans woman or whatever it is, whatever the male to female one is where they think they look good, but they look like ogres. So this is just what I came up with. It's just a fat guy with tits who's really hairy. I really just thought it would fit the theme of the game. And then I guess I quickly realized nobody wants to look at this. I don't even want to look at this. And that's when I discovered the sharing app. I'm like, oh my God, there's so much more customization to this game than I even thought there was. So then I quickly went with Waluigi. Also, I'm joking, guys. I'm joking. Everything I said is 100% true, but I'm joking. Also, for the record and for the YouTube video, I did cover the nipples. I don't know what the rules are as far as getting the video taken down, so I just wanted to take a little bit extra precaution, which is kind of crazy because there's a fucking setting in this game where you can literally turn off and on show nipples, which when I first read that, I had to do a double take. I was like, wait, am I reading this right? Show nipples on and off? Like, what in the fuck am I reading right now? I feel like I should take a little bit of time and talk about what you can do on the map in the form of side activities. Well, in this game, they're called like side hustles, right? I'm pretty sure they were called side activities in the first Saints Row. I played it a couple weeks ago and I can't remember. I'm such a fucking retard. But as far as side activities go in this game, there's only 5 of them, so they go by pretty fast. There is some different activities you can do you later with the ventures that you open up. I'll explain those in a little bit. Just like Saints Row 06, I'm going to rank the side hustles from worst to best and briefly explain what they are, okay? Coming in at number 5 as the worst side hustle in the game, we have shoplifting. All it is you get in a helicopter, you steal a cargo crate, or maybe it's a couple cargo crates, bring it back to a location, and then that's it. That's the side hustle. Really, really easy, not that exciting, pretty boring. At number 4, we have riding shotgun, which is pretty much just like a reimagined version of drug trafficking from Saints Row 06. You accompany somebody in their car, and you have to defend them by shooting up a bunch of different cars and people trying to take you down. Again, not that exciting or innovative. At number 3, taking the bronze medal, we have Atcha. What Atcha is you basically walk up to a location, you give it a rating from 1 to 4 stars. That's the difficulty. 1 star is the hardest difficulty, 4 is the easiest difficulty. And then basically enemies will swarm you depending on what difficulty you chose. 1 star meaning there's a giant swarm of enemies. 4 star meaning there's a couple of them. And all you got to do is wipe them out and then you beat it. It's really easy. It goes by very quick. And it's also, this side hustle is amazing for like trying to level your gun and do challenges. So yeah, it's just a test of gun skill. Not that crazy, but I think it's pretty fun. All the side hustles up until number 2 were kind of mid, but 2 and 1 I really actually enjoy very much. Number 2 is Pony Express. Basically, you're given a package from a courier. They give you an off-road vehicle. You have to drive around and navigate various cops that are set up. You can avoid them completely if you take a really nice path, or if you get in their little radius, then they're going to chase you down. If they're still chasing you by the end of the mission, then you have to get out of your car when you get to the destination and pick off and finish all the cops that are following you. I really like this one because it kind of just throws you into the desert parts of the map that you don't normally visit all that often, and gives you a nice, really fun off-roading experience. That's cool because you can really choose how to navigate and just slid through the cracks of these cops. Very fun activity. And then claiming the gold medal at number 1, of course, is Wingsuit Saboteur. This one is so awesome. It's funny because I actually started off hating this one a lot. The more I played it, the more I kind of understood it, and the more I really, really grew to love it. You start off in a helicopter, you wingsuit down to a rooftop, you have to clear a bunch of enemies and then blow up these satellite relays. After you kill however many of the radar dishes that are on the rooftop, you have to take the little wingsuit pylon to the next rooftop to then clear those enemies and then kill those satellites as well. It takes you to like 3 or 4 or even 5 different rooftops, and you're also timed while this is happening, so you just have to beat it in the allotted time. I actually really like this one because, I don't know, man, it just felt so cool to like wingsuit down, drop a bunch of fucking enemies like an agent, and then just fly to the next one and clear them all. I don't know. It really felt like a shooting sim, like a really rigorous training course for your wingsuit and shooting ability. I really fucked with it. All in all, the side hustles in this game, yes, they're a little more fun than the ones in Saints Row 06. However, they're just not that innovative. I really feel like they're just meant to take you away from the main story missions if you want to break from them, just for a little casual, dorky experience here. As far as discoveries in the map of Santo Iliso, there is a lot of them. There was the photo hunt ones where you basically just have to go to a landmark or a statue or something and grab a photo of it. Very easy discovery. There was also some fast travel photos you could grab. So when you finally got to a location and then took a photo of the fast travel object, it would now allow you to have that permanently unlocked. So you can always fast travel back to that location, which is just very nice for navigating the map. Another discovery I really liked was dumpster finds. Basically, you would just walk up to a dumpster, hop inside of it, and pull out an object. You can get anything from them, too. They gave you XP and money, as well as, like, sometimes the cosmetics. I got, like, a cardboard MP5 out of one, which was pretty sweet. There was another form of discoveries called Hidden History, where you would basically walk up to a tourist billboard, and then you'd have to go and find 4 more, like, little information stands in this yellow circle it gave you on the map. Sometimes they were pretty hidden, sometimes they were out in the open. And every time you pressed F or whatever the activation button is on them, the guy would go, "Did you know?" and then give you some information about whatever the hell you're looking at. There was various shooting ranges around the map, which was very, very cool. I actually really liked these. Every time you'd run into them, it would just be like a small little arena you walk through where there's 15 separate targets you have to find. They don't shoot back or anything. They're just like cowboy targets or alien targets. You just drop them, and then once you find all 15 of them, you're done. I really liked finding these. I don't know. It's like a little dopamine hit every time you hit one. All over the desert areas and the Badlands areas, the Badlands Chugs areas, there were like these little fabricated, like welded windmills that you could go up and press press F on to just claim a part out of them. And if you got all 5 parts, it would give you like a new car or a new like helicopter or something like that, which I thought was pretty cool. These aren't that great though. It's literally just going up to something, pressing F on it. But the rewards were pretty cool. And then last but not least, there's drug pallets. 125 of them across the map. Sometimes they would come in 3s or 4s. All you do is go up, press F on the cocaine or whatever the hell drug it was, and then claim it. And there was 125 of these you had to do. So all in all, they're what they sound like. You just discover them and then you do them. Not that hard, but it's just very time consuming. But yes, I did go around and do all of them, man. It took me like 41 hours to complete this game in total. I'm actually going to throw the screenshot up right now to prove it to you guys because I have to. I really wanted to go for 100% just to experience the game in its literal entirety. I really wanted to compare it to Saints Row 06. Also, to be honest with you, I will probably never ever go back and touch this game again just because there's literally no point. I wasn't all that impressed with it. Although it is fun. I did have fun on it. I just wasn't all that impressed with it. There's just a few more things I want to mention before we wrap here. I want to talk a little bit about the ventures, the criminal ventures that you could do. So once you unlock the church, there's like an empire table that you can walk up to. There's small businesses that you can essentially just buy. And then each one kind of comes with its own set of side activities that you can do. I remember one of them being insurance fraud. I'm not going to talk about all of them just because I don't really care to. Once you clear all the threats in the district that you built the business in, and you also complete all the side activities for this mission, you basically just complete that district. You get increased income per hour the more criminal enterprises you have. I was getting like $1 million per minute at the end game. It was actually kind of insane. And just like the first game, your map turns purple when you're taking over new territory. So it was a nice little callback. I know I said it before, but I really just can't get over how really boring and uninteresting these characters are and kind of unrealistic in a way. I know this game isn't all about realism, but like, come on, guys. Are 2 homos and a woman really going to start a gang? Like, we're really doing this? And then the rival gangs aren't even all that interesting either, man. They feel more like a rock in your shoe compared to like Marshall, the private military contractor. Most of the campaign, a lot of it takes place doing stuff for Marshall and also taking down the Marshall leaders. But when it comes to the idols and the Panteros, they're just like non-existent. Sure, there's a couple missions where you go in and kill their stuff and blow up their headquarters and shit like that, but it's just like, it just really feels like they're so insignificant compared to the rival gangs in like Saints Row 06 per se. Like the Carnales, the Vice Kings, and the West Side Rollers. It really felt like they served a purpose and were there to like propel the story in Saints Row 06. But the 2 air quote gangs in Saints Row 22 they just feel super irrelevant. I will say there is one character I did like a lot. The one saving grace character in this game is definitely the Nuwali. The Nuwali is a guy you try to take out when you're working with Marshall in the beginning of the game. You end up locking him up in a max security prison, and then way later in the story of the game, you end up breaking him out with the Saints. He ends up helping you with his giant train heist, and he seems like a pretty cool dude. And then he fucking backstabs you, man. He shoots you and leaves you in a grave. The betrayal hurts so bad, man. And then you even go through like this weird realm of death where you're like envisioning all your friends playing a board game. It's actually kind of wholesome in a really strange way, but yeah, I did like the Nuwali as a character. Definitely the only saving grace of the game. The other characters, including like Atticus Marshall and all those guys in general, like none of them are they're all just so forgettable and bland. And I feel like that's what really summarizes this game in its entirety. Really, really bland. And it's such a tragedy because the actual concept of this game is very, very cool. Like a prequel to Saints Row. I really think the idea of the Saints forming and then actually finding the church that they stay in, like that's such a brilliant idea. I really, really like that. If you were to mix it with like Julius meeting Johnny Gat and then meeting Dex, it could have been a recipe for something really, really cool, man. But instead we get these characters that it's just really, really hard to give a shit about because I'm playing Saints Row, you know what I mean? I thought I was getting a game about gang power struggles, not like a television sitcom. I know I said it before, but the biggest problem this game truly has is the fact that they called it Saints Row when it's just not that at all. Like I said before, I know the company Volition that made this is no longer a company anymore, but I feel like the only thing they could do now to redeem the Saints Row name is if they maybe they should just make a Saints Row 2 and make it so all the original guys come in and kill all the current gang members and then wipe it up and then take the church over for themselves. I genuinely feel like that could save the franchise, man. But honestly, it's just too late now. And it's sad because the game itself is actually pretty fun. Like, it has really cool mechanics. I really enjoy the driving. I really enjoy the shooting. I love the whole skill tree perk system and skills idea. It all blends together in this really fun open world that actually is pretty good. I do like the open world. It's got a lot of good urban sections. It's got good city sections, a lot of good desert sections. It has some sea sections as well. They could do like boating and jet ski stuff with. But yeah, it's just really, really hard to get invested into this story, if you would even call it that. And this game is pretty funny, like Saints Rows normally are, but they really kind of left behind the crude humor, man. Like, they even took freckle bitches and turned it into FBs. They literally just call it FBs. It's so stupid. It really just feels like a very, very watered down version of the Saints Row series. Like you know when your mom made Kool-Aid in the summer and you'd throw like 2 packets in with sugar? It's like, imagine making a whole pitcher of Kool-Aid, but you put in like 1 small teaspoon of the actual flavoring of Kool-Aid and the rest of it is just watered down. Like, that's literally what this game is. All in all, I don't want to yap about it too much longer. I really want to get into Rechat of the Week now. If you don't know what it is, Rechat of the Week is where I choose a comment from Steam or wherever I bought the game from, or I just try to find a review in general. It could be a good review, it could be a bad review. It's a retard if I think it's a retarded comment, or if it's a Chad comment if it's something I really agree with. Here we go. I found a great review here. It really summarizes like literally everything down to a T. And I just really agree with this point. I think it's very, very well said. We have a review from True Anime Hero posted September 22nd, 2023. So around this time last year. This guy says, I've never seen a game more afraid of its IP and legacy than this reboot. I'm not sure where it went wrong, but wow, did it go wrong. It is playable and works, so it's not a technical programming issue. It's more of a writing, story, pace, and spirit issue. I would recommend the game for 50% off though, but honestly, this game is just scared of itself, its past, and its history, and its identity. This person really just hit the nail on the head. I really agree with everything you said. It really does feel like it's scared to be a Saints Row game. It's like trying way too hard. It's like, oh, look what we're saying and doing in our game, guys. When in reality, it just simply cannot fill the shoes of the older games, especially not the older characters. So thank you, True Anime Hero. You are the Chad of the week this week. Enjoy the title. Wear it with pride. That's going to do it for Saints Row 2022, guys, on the podcast here. So let me know what you think. Would I recommend this game to anyone? It's really hard to say. I usually have a yes or no answer, but if you've never played any of the Saints Row games ever before, then yeah, I would jump into this. You know, it's probably pretty good for that. But if you're a fan of the Saints Row games prior to this, I would not recommend it, honestly. It has nothing to do with any of the original characters. Like I said before, the concept of taking over the church and finding the church and starting the actual group or gang of the Saints up, very, very cool concept. But without the original characters, it just feels pointless. All right, we're wrapping soon. I'm just going to mention what I've been playing really quick because I always like to at the end of my videos. So what has Jerry been playing? I've been playing a lot of Overwatch, man. A lot of Overwatch. I've been playing Anna a lot more. I don't know why I don't play this character more, man. She's so fun, dude. Hitting the shots and giving the nano, so fun. Would recommend. I love Anna. I've been playing X Defiant, just trying to finish the Season 2 Battle Pass. I just unlocked the Highwaymen a couple days ago, the new faction. Holy shit, they're kind of insane. The scrap turret kind of sucks. The noob tube is fantastic, and their ultimate is also amazing. Very, very fun. I've been having a lot of fun on X Defiant up until I complete the battle pass, and then I probably won't touch the game again. I've been playing a lot of Mechabellum as well. Love Mechabellum. It just went full release. I literally recommend it to anybody. Very fun strategy-ish game. And I've been playing a secret game for the Nintendo DS that I will be releasing for next week's podcast. And that's just about going to do it, guys. Thank you so much for listening. I'm going to leave you guys with one clip that I thought was kind of funny from the new Saints Row at the end of this video. Thanks for listening. I appreciate it. Have a great week. Have a great weekend. Have a nice day. Don't forget to exercise, you fat piece of shit. Drink water. Goodbye. Peace.
Dude, I've had a long fucking day. Can we please be reasonable people? You're gonna say you can't tell me because the Nawali will kill you, then I'll say, if you don't tell me, I'll kill you. And we're just gonna be right back to where we started, so let's just skip that part.
No, I was gonna say I can put the address in your phone.
Oh. Yeah, no. That'd be super helpful.
You mind unlocking it?
Whoops, sorry about that.
You're a fucking maniac.
Well, you know, I have a lot of practice and pent-up rage.
I hear that.
Parents?
Alimony.
Ah.
Anyway, secret bunker address is in there.
Thanks, man.
I'm George, by the way.
You're an alright guy, George. When you wake up, you should stop by the church. The Saints could use a guy with some common sense. Now, let's see if my biometrics still work on this VTOL.